Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over the keys to a perfect foot strike, and we're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
My goal is to make it so if you are just a novice person watching, looking to improve their speed, you could really watch these videos or figure out some of the key things that are going to be important to make it so you can understand how to get faster and really be able to maximize your speed without really needing me to be there. That's kind of the overall thought process behind a lot of these videos is not needing a person to actually be there, making it so you could actually understand some of the concepts. Now, from there, obviously, I think it is beneficial. I think it can streamline the process if you have a coach that's able to actually show you some of the things that are happening within your sprinting. So then you can, instead of trying to figure it out and spend months or, hours or whatever on trying to figure it out, you can make it a little bit more streamlined of a process. But if you don't have the ability to do that, then you also can still just watch, enough of these videos to be able to figure out what it is that you need to work on. So what we're going to be talking today is, like I said, the perfect foot strike. So we have two athletes here. Both of them are fairly fast. The big difference, though, that we have here is inability to get into a good range within the ankle. And I think part of this ends up being a feeling thing. I think part of this ends up being a range of motion thing, where as we're coming through, really the concept is going to be like, how much ankle dorsiflexion are you able to get into, and being able to really maximize that ankle range of motion as you get into the highest position of your knee. Okay, so you're at your max knee height. Where is your foot? Where is your toe? Okay, and again, being able to really get the height there allows you to then be able to generate large amount of force into the ground. Really, we didn't even get the full, probably best angle here when he's getting into his speed. So look at how much of a height we're getting, or how much difference of an angle we're getting here in comparison to as we initiate that pull down here. So it's probably about 20-degree difference, we could say, in the height of the foot, right? And when it comes to the ankle, a 20-degree difference is a big difference. Really, when it comes to the ankle, a 5-degree difference is a pretty good difference, just because you don't have a ton of range of motion within the ankle, right? I mean, if you try to lift up your ankle or your foot as high as you can, the range there that you have, if you could get another 3 or 4 degrees, that would give you a lot more power. If you think about, like, now from that position, as if you're driving a car, now drive that foot into the ground. And that's really what you want to be doing when you're running, is you're loading this foot up to now generate as much force into the ground as possible. Okay, so we see the difference here, where now we don't have as much height with the foot. So then as we generate into the ground, we're not able to get into as good of a position. And part of, I think, what the issue is here with this particular athlete, I mean, I think there's a couple different things, but one is because there is a little bit less range of motion here, he has to really rely a lot more on the range, which makes it so now when he lands, he's landing a lot more towards like the front part of his foot in comparison to athlete on the left, where as he's getting into this position, he's pulling that foot down and now landing a little bit more towards the ball of foot. And I think that allows him to create a little bit more consistent action through that pull. So now when he's striking the ground, he's going to be a little bit more balanced and able to continue that force production all the way through. So if you land and you are more towards the front part of the foot, and then as your foot is striking the ground, you start to like shift your way back, or you limit how much force you're able to put into the ground because of something that is happening within your foot strike. Now, as you start to transition or push off, it's just going to take you a longer time to be able to do that, because we're not getting a pull or as much pull into the ground, right? And then as the foot is striking the ground, we're also not getting as much consistently all the way through that pull, so then we're not able to transition off of the ground as effectively. And so there ends up being just like a chain of problems that happen. And I think a lot of it can just be addressed by just getting more height within the foot as we're coming through. And that's why we talk about the perfect foot strike, because really that's what we're trying to do is we're setting ourselves up for the perfect foot strike. And another thing to be aware of too is where is the foot hitting in comparison to the hip? Okay, if we could get more extension and get that foot more underneath us, now we're setting ourselves up for when that foot hits the ground, we are going to be able to have balance, right? Have balance, have control, and continued pull all the way through. So once your foot strikes the ground, we are not done with what we're trying to do within that foot contact. Okay, what the idea is we strike the ground with a lot of force, and then we need to work on being able to rebound right back off and get that heel to be able to come back off and still be able to maintain a forward pushing action, right? So as that foot's coming off the ground, we want to be pushing our body forward to make it so then we're going to be able to maximize how much distance in between each step. So it's really important to be able to really see some of this stuff on you when you're running in order to make it so now you have the best opportunity to improve. And one of the things I wanted to show as well is just, the importance of just doing ankle jumps, right? Like this action and being able to get your toes to be able to come all the way up and then be able to strike the ground, right? Lifting your toes up, strike the ground, lift the toes up to have not only the range of motion, right? And the flexibility. So working on just the ability to drop properly dorsiflex, which is going to be, and this is what I see in a ton of guys that are looking to get faster, right? Not having great calf range of motion, not having great hamstring range of motion, not having great lower back range of motion, not having great overall extension within that entire back line. And those are all critical things that allow you to be able to get the right amount of dorsiflexion within your foot, within your ankle. And so if you don't have that range of motion, now it's impossible to be able to actually use your foot to strike the ground. Okay. Now there's also a different kind of subset of people that are not in a range of motion issue. It's an inability or never actually been taught to actually use their foot, right? So as you get to this position, you need to actively strike down in the ground and understand how to actively strike in the ground and understand how to effectively balance as you are actively striking into the ground. And those end up being, I think, two critical parts in being able to understand the perfect foot strike. Okay, so you need to have the range of motion necessary to be able to make that happen. And we need to also have the ability to effectively utilize the ankle with a strong force into the ground that can be properly distributed from the start into the acceleration into your top speed and be able to have the right amount of balance and control to make it so you can effectively toe right back off the foot. Okay, so as that foot strikes, we need force to be coming back and down. Okay, depending on what started part of the run we're on, the start, the acceleration, the top end, the transition, and then as that foot striking the ground, we also need to be able to properly control our foot. So now, as we are transitioning off of the foot and getting the heel up, we are able to do that in an effective way to then properly set ourselves up for the next step. And that's where true speed, true acceleration, and a true perfect foot strike comes from. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the information, click that thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out a ton. Also, sharing the videos makes a big difference as well if you feel like somebody that you know would benefit from this. And if you like the information or if you have any questions, you can leave those down below. If you like the information, want to find out a little bit more about some of the programs, some of the things we do, check out the description. In the description, we have a lot of different links to our different programs. Big thing is the 12-week program. It's going to take 12 weeks, we think, to really be able to see a positive difference and really a big change, right? You're going to see change in 4 weeks. But to see a big change, and that's what we're in the game for, is to do a full 12-week program. And if you don't want to necessarily commit to the full 12 weeks, or if you want to break it up into payments, we do have those types of options as well. You can go ahead and shoot me a message or an email if you want to find out more about that, or even if you want to connect on a Zoom or through email to just kind of go over what we would do within your running form to help you correct your running form and really see some positive change within your overall performance. So, again, if you like the information, click that thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.